I'm excited and nervous.
I know. I downloaded it last night. Cyberpunk 2077. It's finally here.
No, not that. The thing you've been working on for the past, when was it? Oh, no, June 2019, I think, was the first time we kind of saw this for the first time back at Expo, back when things were, we could actually meet up and do this in person type of thing.
Yeah, things were more normal back then. Expo 2019, Florida.
Oh my God. That feels like a lifetime ago.
It feels like way more time.
And we had been working on this even before that even, because we shown it. We announced it there, so we had it working as a version 1 of the Skypark. But we've been back to the drawing board, to say the least.
Well, it was a coming soon, right? It was a coming soon, right? So there was a coming soon with a date that, by the way, Kevin advised me not to ever put a date on. And this was the ultimate lesson. He said, do not put a date on the release. And I said, fine. We won't put a date on the release. We'll say a season. So it was winter 2019.
You should have stopped at winter.
Fall.
Or you should have just stopped at the season, didn't mention the year, because you could then look back and say, we're here.
Next time. That's all that needed to happen. You're right. We just didn't have to mention the year.
Exactly.
So
I guess, a lot's changed, obviously. I mean, we do live in a slightly stranger world at the moment, but when you initially announced this, you guys were caught unaware about what were to happen just mere hours after the announcement. And I guess that's kind of what led to going back to the drawing board and why we're here 12 months later, I guess. So
I've lost all my hair since then, thus the beanie. Kevin as well. We're both.
Well, no, I've grown too much of it. That's why I'm putting it.
No, I still got the nice cuts. Don't worry. Yeah, so here we are on stage. Here I am on stage, terrified. And we announced the Skypark to the world. Beautiful teasers leading up to it. The box. The trailer gets released. Everybody's like, what is this thing? Lots of hype. Get off stage. Talk of the town. Interviews left, right. Everybody wants to know more. We were at the Orbx booth at the time. Tons of people coming through. My son was actually there with us. He was demoing it to people. I mean, it's that easy to use. And we wrap up the expo thinking, man, that went really great. We're having drinks in the lobby, celebrating a great day and a great announcement. And I hope that came through the mic really strongly. Microsoft drops the announcement for Flight Simulator 2020. And everything changes.
Suddenly it was the talk of the town. Suddenly it was the simulator killer. Everything. It was just crazy just to have that big reveal. I mean, I'm sure we all remember where we were when that happened. It was quite a big
deal. And it's crazy, right? Because all the things that goes through the mind when this type of stuff happens, especially from Microsoft for Flight Simulator, everybody had their doubts. There was no information out there. We were like, okay, is this just like a Microsoft Flight where it's a part of the world only? Is it a free world roaming stuff like Microsoft Flight Simulator X? What is it going to be, and how is it going to affect what we're doing? And obviously that evening we threw theories out. We threw everything we could at the wall, see like, what is this going to be? And it became apparent real quick that this was the product made for the Skypark. It was going after very precisely the experiences that we wanted to convey through the Skypark. It became clear real quick during that evening.
So just very quickly, when you talk about the experiences, let's just assume there are people out there watching this video right now who've never heard of the Skypark or Parallel 42. How would you sum up what what I'm about to install and what you're about to take me through?
An experience. Like, really, everything we do, everything we build, everything we put out, we hope is an experience. We aim for immersion every time. And I think, I hope that you will feel immersed in a new place when you go through the install of the Skypark. Much like our immersion line of products kind of brings a missing immersion to aircraft, this does that for purpose. I think that the problem that we're solving is all too often we launch our sim, and today we're presented with a globe. We're literally presented with the world. We no longer have a menu to stare at and like city names to pick and states. We're presented with a globe now. And you can fly anywhere on that globe, and it's going to be beautifully represented. That made the question even tougher. Where do I want to fly today? And on top of that, why? And so, the data supports the problem. Microsoft Flight Sim team recently released their information on where people flew first. Home.
Yeah.
Home. They're going to fly what they know. The fact is, many people don't know the world. Many people know what they know around them, and they'll connect a familiarity with what's around them. They'll say, oh, there's the skyscraper in the city that's nearest to my small town. But to go to, a remote strip in the mountains of Colombia, or, to explore the major city in Bolivia, or, a small bush strip in the deserts of Africa, like, these are those places that you may not know exist. And so you need something to take you there. And that's what we're hoping to do, is to provide an experience worldwide for people that's very immersive.
Well,
let's start.
I guess really, yeah. So here we are. So this is obviously not what the page will look like through OrbxDirect. This is
this is your page.
This is my page for now.
We decided not to charge you $9,999 Australian.
Oh, okay. So, right, okay, I guess. Ooh. Oh. Do I have to click? That just looks. Right, okay. Let's get started. Okay.
I think that our workspaces speak for the kind of stuff we create. I mean, just look at Kevin and I's, windows, right? I think these are the minds that come together to build, really neat, artsy stuff.
I got a fan and a shredder and a bunch of coats.
I have a fan too. Look, it's just from the 40s.
Inspiration.
So okay, so it says it. All right, so we're going to talk about the install. So the first screen said it's going to be about a 2 gig download. Okay, transponder. The transponder. I can't speak. The transponder generates and monitors the adventures you'll be going through. You can launch it from your desktop or the start menu when you feel like discovering the world. Okay. And the Skype. Okay, so the Skypad is what I'm familiar with from what we've seen from stuff you've shared before and what you revealed. And this is where we will find, manage, and interact with the advantage and monitor. God, I can't speak. Advantage and monitor your progress. Okay.
Yes, that's that. The Skypad is the device that's issued to the pilots, right? Because what's different about the Skypark to other available products is we're not going to try and trick you and tell you that you manage an airline, and yet somehow you fly the planes too. You are a contract pilot. That's what you do. You own a fleet of aircraft. They're yours. They're in your hangar. We've got jobs. You've got planes, and you've got talent. Bring it into the Skypark and fly. Go ahead. I'm pausing for questions.
The Skypark may contain scenarios depicting illicit activities. Do you want to be presented? Right. Okay. So describe what you think. What does this mean?
It
So I
doesn't
can
say
change my
explicit. It says illicit. Okay, so there are multiple companies, currently two. Clear Sky is the primary company who you are a contract pilot for. That's who is running cargo and delivering planes, ferry flights, repos, all sorts of wicked stuff, and tours around the world. But then you've got another side of the coin. And that other side of the coin is Coyote. Now, Transportes Coyote, those guys, their contracts are a bit more shady. They may be running stolen PS5s during the Christmas season. You may be flying around counterfeit Louis Vuittons. You might be flying around other stuff that is a bit more. How do I want to describe this? Experience inducing.
Yeah, right.
and
risk
so
involving.
and risk involving. And so we've kind of protected this content to give users an option to either see that and experience that gameplay side of things or not. Now, as a pilot, you start off with your karma at basically like a 0 marker. And that karma moves towards the direction of good or towards the direction of bad, depending on who you do work for, right? So the more you fly for Clear Sky, you're shifting over this way and maybe seeing less of the Coyote stuff. The more you start showing yourself as a Coyote, the less you're going to be rescuing people and doing heart transplant ferries and stuff like that, right? So now you're pretty much a bad guy. High risk, high reward on one side, insured cargo and, peace of mind on the other side. If you fail a Coyote mission, you are not only not going to get paid, you're also going to be hit with the value of what you had on board. So huge loss if you crash, if you fail. Some people are going to chase the money trail, and other people are going to go the safe route. But ultimately, you've got a very unique way of existing in this world. I would suggest you hit yes.
Well, that was ever going to be questioned.
There we go.
Of course. Okay, cool. So the Skypark uses audio cues for added immersion, although they are optional. Please keep these at level you're comfortable with. We're just going to go with default there. Happy with that. Okay. Oh. Your Skypad is ready. Just before we go any further, it's quite funny I'm doing this today because look what arrived today. It is
amazing.
like the same.
Right on time. Right on time. That's good.
Beautiful.
Okay, let's unbox this bad boy. Oh, it's coming from the other screen. Let me drag that over. Wow. Okay. It looks identical, doesn't it, to similar products?
Sexy.
Okay.
Apple couldn't think of a notch that nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
What city do you think it is?
my God, my geography. I'm gonna say Toronto.
Nope. Kansas City.
Oh, okay. Does this change, or is this just whatever you guys pick?
It's static for now.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, crap! What did I do? Did I break something? Oh no, it went to sleep. This is the first time I've ever owned a product like this, so you have to forgive me for any ignorance. Right?
It behaves like a real tablet. The sleep button works as well at the top.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
one of those little details that I really, really much care about.
boom, boom, boom. So before I go any further, I just want to point out I've just installed this whilst the sim's running in the background just to save some time. But it's all there. So
Let's pin
okay.
it. Let's pin it to the top using the pin button there. Make sure it doesn't fall into the back for you. And yeah, actually, that's a really cool part of the tech, and a big part of why. I'm curious to see what he's going to select.
Light.
Okay. Nice.
Okay, clear theme.
So, do you want a Skypark to stay on top? Yeah. Oh, incoming call. Okay.
Welcome to Clear Sky. I'm Bridget. You'll occasionally hear from me while you're zooming around the Skypark, but today I'm excited to teach you how to use your new SkyPad. I'll need a few minutes of your time, then you'll be ready for your first flight. We'll start with contracts. Contracts is where you browse for available things to do, such as cargo runs, new experience.
Is this like an onboarding process?
It is. This is your onboarding call. As a new pilot, Clear Sky is giving you a call and is onboarding you and showing you around your new device so you can get to work right away.
Okay, right. I just needed to ask. Right, I'm going to press play.
Tours, ferry flights, and more. Are you looking to use a specific aircraft or fly a certain distance? Click on Filters at the top and explore the many options available to find your perfect flight. You can also roll the dice there for a random contract if you can't make up your mind. Once you select a contract, you'll need a place to manage it. For this, we use an app called Conduit. It's a great contract management app that displays details for the contracts you've requested. When you have a contract active, Conduit will show you detailed checklists showing what you need to get done. You can also see a history of contracts you've completed successfully and even those you failed. Next up, we have YoFlight. Think of it like an electronic flight bag. I know some of you have advanced tools or trackers you may use, which is perfectly okay, but we wanted to provide you with some essentials right here on your SkyPad while you're in flight. In YoFlight, you can plan and track your flight and even manage contract checklist items such as loading and unloading cargo. Using YoFlight is super easy. Poke around, you can't break it. Now let's move on to some of the personal apps you've got installed. All pilots on the Skypark get free banking with Stranded Holdings. Financials can be viewed in the pre-installed Holdings app. This info includes your current bank balance and details on deposits and expenses. Over time, you'll have additional operational costs, so you may want to keep a close eye on those finances. Progress is where we track your performance on the Skypark. If you ever feel the need to check in on how you're doing, this is where. At a glance, you can check your current bank balance, XP, and Karma. Let's go over each of those real quick and how they affect what you see. The first thing here is your current bank balance. They say money doesn't buy happiness, but I would much rather cry on a biz jet. You'll need money to make money, so keep an eye on that balance. And remember, you can always visit the Holdings app for more details. XP is a measure of your experience as a pilot. XP always moves up as there is something new to learn in every adventure. You'll want to earn XP as quickly as you can so you can level up and get more exciting contracts. Now, Karma is always shifting. It moves in the direction of either good or bad, depending on the types of contracts you accept. I heard of a new company called Coyote on the platform. They like to try to steal our best pilots for shady contracts. Your Karma has a direct impact on what company contracts are available to you. Not seeing enough of the company you're looking for? How's your Karma? There's also a reliability score for each pilot. Now, this is kept confidential, but if you really want to know what yours is, you'll need to take me to lunch first. Fly into KMKC in Kansas City, and I'll set it visible for a few hours. Next is the Settings app. Look, if I need to explain this to you, just turn in your pilot's license. Okay, I think we're all set here. Let's start your first flight. Click on Contracts, pick an available contract, and head over to the starting airport. Your flight trainer will meet you there. I've got another onboarding session in 5 minutes. Bye!
That was awesome.
How do you feel?
Wow. I feel like I'm familiar with it already. And I haven't even gone into any of the apps. That was awesome.
Can I send you a link to the PDF owner's manual now? Like the user manual? Do you need we've written a 42-page manual for this. Are you sure?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just want to get stuck. I mean, like, let's be honest. Whenever we download new products and stuff, and I think this goes without saying, who reads the manual is the first thing you do. The first thing you want to do is just jump in and see what that product is all about. So to jump in and have, what was that, 4 minutes? I forgot what the time said. It was barely 5 minutes, right? To have that overview was super helpful. So yeah, I'm just very cool. And it's nice to have such an organic onboarding process, right?
So that was Bridget. She is your primary contact on Clear Sky. You're done with onboarding. Next up, we move into training. We want to get you on the ground right away. We really, really don't want to take up too much time in having you look through manuals and learn to use something. We're going to push you straight in. Now, we've lined up something special for you today. I know that you like having your exclusives, and so we're going to drop one for you today. Instead of the standard training, which all users will experience, you're going to experience something that will eventually be available to all users as well. And this is a special training by a very popular YouTuber, Mr. Ben Lamove. Now, Ben is a 23-year-old aerobatic pilot that recently bought an aircraft in North Carolina and flew it across country himself. In 4 days. Keep in mind, this plane does not have any kind of automation. That's pretty hardcore. We are lucky to have been working with Ben to bring you this experience. So, Mr. Calum, if you could just go into the filters and search for Lamove. L-O-M-O-V.
Like that. Okay.
And there you go. So
this is the route he took.
That is the actual route he took. Now, we've got some very unique things in here where one segment of that route, we went ahead and made a variable segment. So what we can do is give each user a unique experience or give the same user different experiences. So if you were to be flying this with a friend, which is made easy these days with Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, at one point in this route, you would actually be going to separate airports. And then you would end up there, and then you would kind of join back up later on in the flight and carry on. So that means if you feel like coming back to do this again, it might be a completely different, segment. Or if you're flying it with friends, you have this experience of like, oh, you're going north? Dude, I'm going south. Okay, this is dope. We're going to experience something different. So this is the actual route that he took. And we'll have you jump in and experience just the on-the-ground immersion here as well. We have the ability of locking down the aircraft that you fly to a very specific one for very specific experiences. Obviously, this is one of those. He flew it in this plane. We're lucky enough to have this plane as a default in the sim. It made sense. So poke around the contract. Yeah.
So do you want me to load up the sim and the airport and stuff? Or do you want me to play around? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and load in. Yep.
Let's move this. Oh.
You want the full immersion.
I pressed the...
We want the full immersion. We all want it.
Right. Just move that to the right. So, Kilo Tango Tango Alpha. Any... Oh, hang on.
Any parking spot is fine. Yep.
Yeah. Number 1. Do I need to set the arrival or just spawn in?
No need.
Okay.
No need for now. We won't have you fly it. I know in your line of work you barely fly these days, so we're not going to put you on the spot like that.
Right then, fly. Okay, so this is going to load up. Whilst that's doing that, maybe we can have a little look into this.
Yeah,
So,
we can poke around the filters or anywhere you wish. We can always come back and request that card. That's not a problem.
So this is the filter section, which Bridget kindly took us through very briefly just now. So we can filter by ID, ICAOs, whatever else. So I guess like with names, helis, piston, turbo. Okay, so different aircraft types, distance, 9,999 nautical miles. Bloody hell. Passengers, cargo, varies to. And then, okay, so that's the feeling lucky dice. And then we can go even more advanced. Wow. So a lot of options.
A lot of options.
Aircraft. Ending soon, payout. Wow, okay. Right.
Lots of options. So, we want you to find the stuff that actually excites you. And, we've got work everywhere. So, and it's a living ecosystem. So these contracts, they might exist right now, but if you think about it too long, it might not exist anymore. It might have, been taken by the AI, right? Let's just consider the system, another user or 1,000 users. That card, if you see it and it seems interesting to you, you request it before you lose it. But just always keeping in mind to never bite off too much, right? Because if you don't deliver these, they count against you in many ways.
So we're ready to fly. Let's just get stuck in.
Yeah, let's get stuck in.
So you're presented with 3 contracts right now. So you see 2 there, but if you scroll, you'll be able to get to see the third one. Actually, the third one is not a tour. It's just that something has Lemove in it.
Smart search is smart.
But yeah, if you at the bottom, you have the cards, you have the details about the different contracts, and you can also scroll through the map and press the search this region button to get something from that region. But now you have filters, so you probably won't find anything and bring you back there.
Yeah.
The cards at the bottom have an info button, and that's where the Skypark really shine, because we didn't want this to be a spreadsheet where you would just scroll through lines of flights that are available to you. We wanted to make this really rich content that would bring you in and make it interesting for you to shop for different contracts. So we've made something that's very highly dynamic, and allows you to shop by visuals and experience. It's something that's, I think I've never seen in this community so far done that way. And we're really pushing to improve this even further than what it is right now.
It looks great. I mean, just scrolling through, we've got the details, so the experience. So I guess we're going to earn. So is this, if I complete this contract, this is how much I'm going to get from doing all of this?
Yep, yeah. That's the change. Mm-hmm.
Is this every single leg, or is this individual
the entire?
Because you said,
right, the entire. So your job here is to deliver the plane at the end. If you don't deliver that plane at the end, and you don't also land at all those airports, you don't count.
You're setting me up for a 2,500 mile trip.
I'm excited for the moment you're gonna hit cancel, and it's gonna be like reliability -10.
God. Okay, so we got. Okay, this is nice. So if you want to find out a little bit more about Ben,
that's the actual flight. You could literally kind of kick back while you're doing this and experience it on another screen as he's doing the exact same thing. And the way that this experience matched up between the real world and the sim is unbelievable. It's a very blurry line now between watching this real content and experiencing it in the sim. And I hope that we do a great job at capturing that edge, that blurry area in the middle. That's where we want to exist. At the top right, you'll see a share code. these contracts, they'll have share codes. So you could literally send that to a friend and say, hey, fly this thing with me. And the system will generate or locate a contract for them that matches your route. So all of a sudden now, anywhere you fly, you don't have to fly alone, and it could be profitable for both, or 10, or 20.
Good, because I don't think I could do 2,500 miles on my own.
Right, exactly.
So I'm scrolling down. So I guess get to these different airports. This is part of the contract that I potentially would request, and this is just kind of a visual. So is this from the sim? Are these?
No, those are from a map provider, but we're working really hard to try and get those visuals from the sim. The difficulty with the sim is that it just keeps changing all the time.
Yeah,
and it's always reliable. So yeah, but those airports, we know they exist in Microsoft Flight Sim. 100%. So you won't get a surprise of picking up a contract arriving somewhere that there's no the airport's not located in the sim.
Yeah, that's one of the experiences you'll avoid here is finding out, oh, this doesn't exist in sim. Kevin was adamant about building the intelligence to avoid that experience for everyone.
Yeah,
and succeeded.
And if it's a grass field, you get to see it in the satellite imagery before you pick it, right?
So those are from our own satellite, by the way. We sponsored an engine with the SpaceX program, number 42, and they took a satellite up for us, and we photographed every airport in the world.
Wow, impressive. So
allegedly.
This is the
allegedly.
So this was the first contract I picked, right? So what if I click on next? Does that take me to the next one in that kind of that horizontal list?
Yeah.
Good observation. You can browse either in that large map view, or you can sit there and browse contracts this way. And we'll request this one just so that you can get that initial training experience. But we're not going to fly this one. We'll actually go in and browse the world of contracts in a second. So go ahead and request this one.
The first or the second one?
Either one.
Your choice.
I'll go with the first one. Let's go request. You are about to request this contract. Contracts are living documents on the Skypark. When you see one you like, request it. Clicking this doesn't guarantee you'll get it. Oh, so you may have been beaten to it. If awarded the contract, it's yours to pass or fail. Okay.
I'll press the manage button. Now that process is automated. We're going to fix that. And it's going to bring you into Conduit automatically.
Okay. So this is now where we see my progress for this contract.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
So it tells you to get to KTTA. Now there seems to be a glitch where it doesn't recognize the aircraft. I don't know why that is.
I wonder if they changed something in the latest update.
I don't know. Jeez.
It's
did. Going well.
I think this last update might have, requires the Asobo pits. Well, let's see. What are we in? The Asobo pits.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll bypass this. We'll go into looking into the world of contracts. So what you would have experienced is actually Ben. Ben jumping in and walking you through a little bit about managing this aircraft, some tips and tricks on takeoffs and landings, and thanking you for delivering it for him and wishing you well on your journey. And not only would you have heard from Ben there at the start, but a few check-ins along the way as well. So an incredibly immersive experience through and through from end to end.
I'll tell you what, so we'll go in to have a look at the world map and stuff. Once this bit has been figured out, we'll just record this little bit as well, just as like maybe a supplementary video just to see what it's like. Because I'd love to experience it. I'd love to see how that all ties in and stuff.
Done deal. Yeah, let's browse some contracts.
Cool. So I can stay in this plane, stay in the sim,
Yeah.
go home, back to contracts. Okay. So this is the one we picked.
Mm-hmm. Clear your filter and explore.
And there it is, the map. Okay. Right, I'm going to go home. What's around?
First place you visit.
Always.
So I guess I can just search the region. Oh, wow. Okay. So there's a fair few.
Whoa, you got a coyote job right off the bat there.
Yeah, the first one.
Nice.
Move counterfeit jeans from Taton Hill to Chatteris Airfield.
Nice.
Let's have a look at the info. Oh, so this looks a little bit different actually to the first, because we've got some icons here. I guess this is the type of aircraft you can use.
Mm-hmm.
Good catch. Yeah, so this is a recommendation of aircraft. The system is smart enough to analyze the journey and recommend an aircraft for that journey. It does not mean that you're limited in any way, shape, or form, right? One of the pluses of the Skypark is that you can fly whatever you own, within reason. Of course, we're not gonna. We can see if you jump in a fighter jet to do a big jump. But this is a recommendation. Of course, if you want to push it, you can go BizJet, right? That's just on the edge of pushing it there, and you might be lucky. But I can safely say that you probably wouldn't be very lucky in a narrow body or a wide body. So there's a lot of intelligence there in recommending something for the journey.
So I want to do this trip because I want to be a coyote.
Yeah, my man.
So okay, we're gonna manage that. So I have two contracts going at the same time. Is that going to affect me in any way, or?
Another great question. It automatically will pause. If you end up switching to do something else, perfectly okay. One of the users in the Discord called it teleporting, right? If you want to teleport somewhere else in the sim, all good. Go somewhere else, do something else in the meantime. What matters on the Skypark is that you are monitoring that end time. You have 21 days to deliver that aircraft to Ben. You can do whatever you want in between. We'll pause the contract for you automatically, but if you fail to deliver it in those 21 days, that's on you. It will close out on you. Wah, wah, wah. Done. So yeah, you can take on these different journeys with friends or just something along the way that you want to do that's different. Anytime, we'll auto pause it and you can come back to it.
So I can have as many contracts as I want, basically. But I obviously then run the risk.
Yeah, so in early access, which is, by the way, what this is going to be classified as just out of the gate, we'll go through a period of early access as the sim continues to kind of settle down. Because up to recently, we couldn't click a sun visor without planes crashing. So as the sim continues to settle down, we'll remain in an early access stage. But it does not mean a buggy product. It does not mean something that you'll have to deal with a lot of issues. What that means is we just have some things hidden that we consider the final step to go V1, to be full release. And they're still hidden because we're not done with them yet, or because some things aren't enabled yet. And therefore, in this early access stage, we're going to use it to collect data from our users, feedback. I wish I could. I would like to. I wish this moved. I wish this was different. And also occasionally to check in with people to see how much money they're making, at what pace they're moving up the ladder. Because right now, there isn't any draw on your money. So it's a great time to get in and slightly cheat the system and just collect. There's no draw on the money yet because we need to measure how fast people are climbing that money ladder. There are other products out there. You get paid like $1 million to do a flight. You get fined like $500,000. Come on, man. You're a pilot. You're a pilot. Yeah, you get paid $1 million to do anything on an airplane. Anyways, it's not like that in here. We're going to measure how fast people are climbing so that once we start to introduce those draws on money, they're very appropriate draws on money, ensuring that people aren't just going broke left and right and not able to sustain climbing up the ladder. Part of that is the number of contracts that you can request. Out of the gate in early access, it's going to be a bit of a free-for-all. We need to see, well, how many are people accepting and then failing at one time? Like, do most people just have their reliability in the gutter, or are people playing the game? Based on that, we'll make adjustments and, limitations, right? Lower reliability, you'll have 1, maybe 2 contracts that you can accept at a time because you're not trusted yet by the company. The higher the reliability, when you see the gold, you can take the gold contract because you have a slot open to do so. So things like that. The gameplay will continue to evolve.
So it's ever expanding, basically, or like it's going to continue to grow this world, this ecosystem.
Ever expanding. The gameplay, this is tip of the iceberg right now, right? And it's just gains right now, which is kind of exciting. We get to see the money move fast. We get to see, all these things happen. But over time, that gameplay is going to get a little bit richer for you. You'll have, costs of maintaining your fleet. Rather than getting ultra granular, we're going to take things to a nice general, easy to enjoy level. I think easy to enjoy is the right way, right, Kevin? It's easy to enjoy. Not hard, not easy. It's easy to enjoy. Maintain your fleet. A nice monthly cost from Bob's Aero Service. Oh, you just got another exclusive. A nice monthly cost, coming through. It shows up in your finances. We know how much you've flown. We know what you've flown. Here's your cost.
Sorry, I'm just playing around as you.
I love it.
You continue to, so I can load plans. Okay.
Yes.
So.
Custom flight plan integration. If you choose to utilize, like Bridget said at the start, if you choose to utilize other available software to create routes, etc., you can. We don't want people to think that this is like some little GA only type tool. You load in a complex flight plan, you will see every point there. It will show up in YoFlight. It's all there. And we look forward to growing into that as well as the sim continues to mature to larger aircraft.
So I'm back in that same app. So I've just clicked on this icon here, and this now is drawing the aircraft in here, and then I can see the route.
Yep, and the ring that you see, that's your pause area. So, for example, if you were to go and take that other job in the UK, this ring will remain as a data point on the ground here, not visible to you, but the sim knows where you were last on this contract. And as long as you spawn back inside of that ring, you can continue this Ben Lemove delivery. So we know, right? You can't now just go to the next airport and be like, auto check-in. No, not happening. I said so easy to enjoy, not easy.
Yeah. So I guess that's the big, thick red ring here. That is the spawn. What are the ones outside of it? Do you kind of?
I love the way you think. I love the way you're asking all the right questions. Kevin, you can talk about what the rings will signify over time as well.
Yeah, I get it. So the big ring is really the one that matters. So if you're in the middle of a flight, for example, and then your friend is calling and is like, "Hey, we're going to the pub right now. You got to land like in 2 minutes. I'm at your door. I'm going to pick you up." You have time. You have the ability to go and just land at any airport you find along the route. and exit of the sim or manually pause it, and this ring will pop up. And you have to, if you want to resume that contract, you have to spawn back into that ring to be able to resume that contract. And that's the thicker ring. The outer ring are simply there so that if you're somewhere else on the map, you're easily able to locate that master ring and get back to it, right? So I think that's a good way of doing things, and it enables us also to handle multiple contracts at the same time at once. Because there's nothing more annoying than being locked into a single contract and not being able to join your friend on another one. Because this one is a 4-day contract, right? At its shortest,
and it's all hand flying.
So you want to, it's all hand flying. So you want to be able to pick it up and drop it off at random moments and be able to do something else in the meantime. So you get those rings in YoFlight. You also get those rings in Conduit. So you always know.
I see a light bulb. I see a light bulb above his head.
Is it me, or did this change depending on the angle of the map?
Yeah, it's the angle of the aircraft.
Okay.
So yeah,
it's the heading of the aircraft.
The heading of the aircraft. Yeah.
It's a living app.
Very cool.
The outer rings as well. As we expand the gameplay, when you perhaps are not in the proximity directly of an airport, you can spawn at one outside of that major ring, and you'll get hit with a transport fee to spawn there, right? Thus somewhat, I guess, reducing the possibility of abuse, of kind of like, I'm going to spawn 50 times across these two iCows and I'll keep moving closer. Yeah, by the time you get there, you get nothing. So why did you even bother? Right. But as the gameplay increases, those money draws are going to be things like that, those relocation costs, etc.
Cool. So I'm going to go into holdings now. I don't imagine there's going to be much going on. So I've got $42 at the minute. And this will go up and down depending on how I perform and stuff in this world.
Yeah.
Cool. My progress. And then this is what Bridget was talking about. So there's points. So you were talking earlier about having this Ben Lemove one, not the and about experience points and levels. So do different contracts become more available the higher your level?
Yeah, so there's 2 control points that are primarily used with contracts. We've got XP and we've got Karma. Reliability is also utilized, but it's utilized for somewhat premium experiences. I'll give you an example. I think, honestly, one of the best examples that I can give is on the Coyote side, because I've experienced it myself. As a not very reliable, somewhat Coyote-ish pilot, you can zoom around the world flying counterfeit jeans, as you are. Eventually, you will progress past a point where some of those metrics will hit gateways that will then enable you to zoom around the world with cannabis on board. Eventually, other things. Eventually, specific regions will be hotspots for these types of activities. Eventually, you go full negative 42. You're full full Coyote scale. And reliability is way up there, 90% plus, and you've got the experience to back all of that. You may get your own route from Colombia to the US or others that are at this time unspoken of, but you may get an entire route to yourself now that will allow you to seriously cash in. You're top of the food chain. You're trusted throughout the entire process and with any type of cargo. The same concept applies on the Clear Sky side as well. You've got these concepts of human organ transports and rescues and things like that. All that stuff is going to be top scale on Clear Sky. So the game is very living, and it's very dependent on where you exist. A lot of times, your neighbor in the home with the picket white fence could be running these counterfeit jeans. So you can exist right in the middle and be perfectly fine shifting between these jobs, doing a little here, a little there, and be okay. But the more dedication you show to one or the other, the more of that serious, profitable or, experience yielding content you're going to see.
I guess ultimately anything you do in here matters. Like every action you take, every route you take, every piece of cargo, every mess up, everything will have an impact on your progress throughout your time in the Skypark.
Yeah. We make it granular on the back end so it doesn't have to be on the front end. Kevin and I often have arguments about, well, why does the cargo have to have this rating as well as the contract? And it's like, well, let's just say you want to do this, or this. And it's like, yeah, I guess so, right? Because if you carry multiple things on the plane and then eventually, one is worth more than the other. And it gets very complex on the back end, but that allows us to present a nice, simple thing on the front end.
Sure.
Taking the work off your plate.
So I've gone through all of it. Settings we've done. Feedback is okay. So like you said, as part of the early access.
Right. Yeah. The feedback will exist during that early access phase. Yep.
So this is just going to help you guys make sure that the product continues to get those updates and is in keeping with what the community are expecting from it.
The feedback and the Discord. So the Discord is a big part of the immersion as well. The Discord is not set up in any way, shape, or form to become a community of pilots in competition with existing communities. We want existing communities to embrace this and go have fun. We want existing communities to say, dude, let's all just fly this. Here's some share codes. I found a killer contract. Let's roll. The Discord is set up as a company Discord. Bridget exists in the Discord. There's a company news channel. There's one pilot chatter channel. It's a part of the immersion. Anytime there are new contracts landed in the system that will be populated out to pilots, Bridget will announce these as anybody's, Fortune 500 company would in a newsletter. It'll be published. We've landed this new contract, and I'm really excited. It'll pay well at the beginning as part of the deal, but eventually, we'll have to renegotiate. So jump on these contracts soon, and things like that. Like this immersion continues into this company Discord as well.
Cool. So
and we're just the IT guys, by the way, in that Discord.
Yeah.
Like Kevin and I are our role in this RP style flight sim thing. Our role is we're just the IT guys. That's what we are. In the Discord it says IT. We are the IT guys.
Brilliant. So is there anything else just in this? Like we've gone through everything, but is there anything else you want me to look at or talk about and share? Because I'm sure there's plenty more to discover and stuff, but I appreciate you've been talking for quite a while already on this.
No, I think we've just about covered it. I think the rest is for people to discover because there is a lot of depth to this, even though it may appear simple. Like I said, the complexity is kind of hidden behind this beautiful, simple, easy to use hub. This device, we're excited, very excited.
Gonna snooze it. Oh, look at
that. Available via the Orbx store, exclusively for the time being, and possibly one day available directly from us. I'll say no more.
I still have some questions. So,
okay.
Whilst you're talking about availability, are you talking about release dates yet, or are you gonna learn your lessons from the past and kind of just when it's ready, it'll be ready?
I think
He's looking at
I hear jingle
Yeah.
bells playing in the distance. I could just be the holiday season. Yeah.
I don't know. It's ready when it's ready. That's how it works. I don't know. I've got some
Microsoft
wrapping
announces
paper,
Flight
so-
Simulator 2021.
Yeah, right. I'll do that in a couple of hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can see the announcement thing already.
Right, like it has to be understandable how much an announcement like that can impact the business, right? Like it's got to be, the viewers have to like get it, right? It's like we announced this thing, it's exclusively for P3D, and then wait, what? And yeah, I mean, the first few months we spent saying, dude, we don't know anything about this, and neither does anyone else. So what do we do? Do we wait? Do we just do this? Do we wait? And we decided the best approach was those first few months. We full stop on dev at that time, and then kind of just focused on releasing a great update for Chase Plane 1.2. We pushed out a beautiful update for Chase Plane, and we kind of just regrouped. And with the little knowledge that we had to kind of outline how this thing could exist in an ecosystem that was completely new and undocumented. And even today, as it's released to public, still for the developer side remains undocumented. We don't have contact with Asobo to, hey, can we do this stuff? Can we do it? Doesn't exist in that capacity. We don't have the ease of picking up a phone and calling someone there like we do have with Lockheed Martin. So we're working on this, and that's why that early access title is important for us to push out. It will come out at a reduced price, and then once we are comfortable that we've hit our milestones for a V1, that price will increase. But if you're in on the early access, that's it. You're in. There will be no additional cost for you. I know that there will probably be some questions about the subscription piece. Just a reminder that we did address that with FSElite actually many months back. And we talked about how we've heard the community and we're going to do a one-time purchase version of this. And then we'll have kind of the Skypark Live, which is completely optional with a monthly subscription piece that's incredibly reasonable, that will give you a greater server-side intelligence and just things will be even more living, let's just say. And so that's the way that it's going to go. But you're seeing the level of immersion that we have here already, just in a standalone product. I mean, that speaks for itself.
Yeah. So because I remember having conversations and stuff with you guys not so long after the announcement of the new sim, and I think everyone was caught off guard and stuff. So everything you spoke about for the prepared version back in June 2019, has that come over to the new sim? Because obviously the teaser you gave at the beginning was the whole box and the implementation of the various packages and stuff. We haven't loaded up a flight in this demonstration, but is that coming through with all of this, or is that coming a little bit later down the line?
A good observation as well. Yeah, I'll let Kevin jump on this one.
Yeah, the technologies that we used on the P3D side is very different than what we're using on this. So when Microsoft Flight Sim released this version of the sim, we went in and saw what was available and what was possible and not possible. Mm-hmm. And there are a few things that are fundamentally different about how the scenery works in this sim. We want to make sure that what we deliver through the SkyPad is an accurate representation of what you can do in the sim. Like we said earlier, we don't want you to find a contract and end up looking for it and looking for those iCals in the sim and not being able to find them. So it's really important for us to just not necessarily get a real life iCal database and shove this in and make it work with everything. We'd rather have a tailored solution for every sim and eventually every install, because people install custom scenery in their on their sim. They install add-ons. That's what this platform is all about. That's what P3D was all about. That's what FSX was all about. This is what Microsoft Flight Sim is becoming. But now we have this additional layer of abstraction where some of those airports will be encrypted and we don't have access to that data. Right now, there is no way to extract data in a kind of a live fashion from that sim. There's no API for us to fetch airport data. We have to resort to the old-fashioned way of scanning BGL and binary files. And in some situation where those things are encrypted, it's just not a viable option. So right now, the way we have it working is that we're providing you with the full set of default airport that the sim provides. And as we move on and as the SDK improves, we'll be able to work in those custom airports into the mix and make it a bit more alive. And that's the main reason why it's a Microsoft Flight Sim exclusive right now, is that we want to concentrate on making the platform, the framework, be solid in the first place, make it work reliably with Microsoft Flight Sim, expanding on the add-ons. And then who knows, eventually, if there is enough demand for it, we can work our way back to the other platforms out there. But right now, that's the technology we use.
So that's the answer for custom airports, but not the answer for the box. I'll answer the box.
Well,
the box is not possible now, as far as we are able to try and locate the tech we need within the sim. But we've built the tech. So the moment that we can hook in and make that happen, the box will appear. The box remains our mascot. So that box, once the sim permits that to be an option again, it shall return as well.
There are a few things we want to do with it. There are a few things we want to do with it. We don't want just, because it would be possible right now to just plop a box next to the aircraft and make you load that box, but we want it to be interesting, right? We want vehicles going to the aircraft. We want it to drop the box or have the box located somewhere and you have to fetch it or something. We need to make it interesting. We don't just want to plop a box to plop a box, because it's just an additional step that is not really bringing anything to the table.
I mean, the whole thing's about immersion, right? And if you're just putting a box next to it, it will kill that.
Yeah, well, it might improve the experience a little bit, but that's not really. It's not worth it now until we have the APIs and the tricks we want to make it even more immersive.
Some fun chat about the box. At one point, the box fell from the sky and created a dust cloud. At another point, the box was delivered by drone that came from the nearest large building. Now, this was all in sim. Like, a box literally flew out with a drone above it and dropped off the box. Another iteration was the box came down in a beam of light from the sky, teleporting down to the aircraft. And then in that time, I think it frustrated Kevin enough that he created the concept of, I made cars drive organically, they will bring the box. And that's just like a little bit of insight as to how things work behind the scenes, where like you have this idea and it's really, really cool. And people will say, oh, that's awesome. But it's not there yet, right? Like, it just needs some other little touch. And sometimes those touches are ones that may not have the same, oh, that's cool impact, but they just feel right. It's like a good Photoshop. A great artist you show your work to somebody and they're like, oh, good, that's a good photograph. And the person that did the Photoshop says, you can't tell, but like I had to rebuild that entire column and that carpet pattern was off and I had to change this and that. And it's just, typically the people don't appreciate that art, but that's actually the art that we're going for. It's so immersive, it's so clean that, that's how it should be. A car brings the box in the back and it unloads.
That's where I went that's where I went in my tangent before I got lost. Is that we need proper airport data to be able to drive a vehicle around that airport. And that's what we don't have right now, or we have in a default fashion, but as soon as you install a third party, it just breaks down. So that's where we're going. As soon as we have that data available to us, then we'll start injecting vehicles and boxes and interesting stuff like that.
And sadly, the state of the sim currently, like that doesn't only affect us, right? Like we've got other great people, Umberto, GSX, one day brother, one day we'll get that data. He's affected as well. We've got many add-ons that rely on like similar types of data sets that we can't get access to. People ask about Chase Plane. It's the same thing. I mean, look, it hasn't been as openly talked about as the weather engine being completely sealed off from third-party developers, but the camera system's the same way. That's your answer. Yep. The camera system's the same way. So we'll close it off, and that's that. Some copies of Chase Plane were purchased, and you have the camera system you have now. And unless there is a major change to allow us to touch that in some way, shape, or form, we're a bit limited. We're a bit limited, and we're not going to take shortcuts. Shortcuts are not something that I like to experience, and shortcuts are not something that Kevin likes to build. So if it can't be done right, it won't be done.
That's the way. That's the philosophy.
And I think that comes through, using your stuff in the past from your immersion packs, Chase Plane, and I've only just scratched the surface of the Skypark, but you can. The fact that the little switch up here, the little sleep switch, does exactly as it is, again, I think just emphasizes the attention to detail you guys tend to put into your products and stuff. So, I mean, I can't wait to dig deeper into this, to be honest with you. I mean, I keep flicking between the screens and I'm just mesmerized at the UI and just discovering, like you said, all those little bits and stuff.
You haven't even taken off yet.
I know. I don't think I would do it to the full extent, but I'll certainly give it a go.
So you asked me at the start, and I answered an experience. Would you say, even without flying, would you say you've had an experience?
It's always an experience talking to you, but in terms of I would say yes. I mean, the fact that suddenly, just looking at the contracts, I was just zooming around and stuff earlier and just having a look at, what's in this area. And you can, everywhere you look is a different experience. I think, it does just that. I think it's going to give the opportunity to find new ways to fly, new places to explore. I think Microsoft Flight Sim looks amazing, even in some of the more rural parts of the world. So to have a reason and an actual reason to go and fly even some of these like smaller routes and stuff is going to be fun. In terms of the experience, I love the UI. The onboarding was like really, really cool. I know it seems so simple and so basic to think that happened, but we don't actually see that in other add-ons. So that was cool.
I think when the trailer released, people thought that was like production trickery, right? They made a video, cool. They made this cool production. No, that's gameplay. Actual gameplay footage is what we should have put at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. That's my thought right now.
Well, cool, man. I'm glad.
Yeah,
and now you have it. That is your SkyPad. If you lose it, we will invoice you. So please take good care of your SkyPad. Don't leave it in your car unlocked or your plane unlocked. And see you in the skies. Honestly, that's where you'll find the real experiences. We're just the beginning of that. The places that the SkyPad will take you, the places that you'll visit in the Skypark, I mean, those are the experiences. And we're excited to see and hear more about the places people fly in our Discord or our email inboxes, wherever you want to hit us up.
IT department at Parallel 42.
Just the IT department, man. My SkyPad doesn't load. Have you rebooted it? Hold down the button.
There's a hard reset, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead. Hold it down.
If you hold that button, it resets it.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
It resets your settings.
Already?
Some of them.
So good.
Anyway, I'm going to go and play with this for a little while. Thank you so much for your time and taking me through this. This was really cool. Just to have a chat with you and see this for the first time.
Yeah, man.